Okay.
On YouTube, where JC is breaking down the most viral clips in sports and entertainment.
Because every day above ground is a good day, some are just more questionable than others.
Subscribe to Questionable Call on YouTube right now. New episodes drop every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Anything else is out of the question. Presented by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys, Twin Peaks, St. Lucie Battery and Tire, and Bud's Chicken and Seafood. Yeah, chicken and seafood.
Hey, it's Josh Cohen. When you need auto repair, honesty and reliability are everything. Trust the home for honest, reliable service since 1970. St. Lucie Battery and Tire. St. Lucie Battery and Tire has all the tire and battery brands in stock for cars, trucks, RVs, marine, power sports, golf carts, everything. Major and minor service repairs, free tire pressure, battery checks. St. Lucie Battery and Tire, over 50 years in our community. And now with 18 full-service locations, West Palm to the Treasure Coast. Go to slbt.com. That's slbt.com.
Tee up your taste buds with the ultimate pairing, great food, and golf. Theo Dorsey here at The House in West Palm Beach. Overlooking the park's world-class 18-hole golf course, The House offers coastal American dishes that will satisfy anyone's palate. The House is open Thursday through Sunday for lunch, brunch, and dinner. Stop by for an entree and receive a free round at the park's The Lit 9 Par 3 course. On The House. Visit thehousewestpalm.com for their full menu and to make reservations.
Anajar and Levine.
Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 1063.
WUUB Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station. Huddle up. Huddle up.
66 Hitch X Vegas Flare. I'm ready.
It's time to break down the boldest plays.
Let's go, baby. Boom.
Hardest hits. And the craziest stories from around the NFL.
Touchdown Tampa Bay. Fire the cannons.
This is Sunday Huddle with Colin Russo, presented by Hard Rock Bet.
It's Sunday Huddle presented by Hard Rock Bet. Not live in the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. I am on remote. I am back in Connecticut. Quick hiatus for me, but we're still doing the show today. Colin Russo here, joined alongside me is Kate Chumson, who is back at the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. It's Sunday Huddle presented by Hard Rock Bet. Now, basically at the halfway point of the football season, it's time to get started. You see how teams are shaping up. There's no better time to get your first bet in on Hard Rock Bet. It's the ultimate place. Four parlays. You can bet as little as $1 in week 6 or better in Florida. When $1 on a first touchdown score parlay. Five different players will score the first touchdowns of their games on Sunday. Won $40,000. $1 bet into $40,000. There's so many different ways to bet, so many different types of parlays. Even if you're not sure what to bet, you can see the popular trending parlays built by the other users that you can follow and bet just in a few taps. You can even check out how the NBA is back in hoops betting. So there's a whole different facet. You can do a little basketball, a little football. You can do so many different things on Hard Rock Bet. The app is so accessible. It is so easy to get involved. There's so many different props when you come to basketball. You can do points per game, threes, assists, boards. There's so much more. There's more, less, over, under. It's a huge month for sports, for rivalries in college football. So not only are you going to get big games to watch, which is going to be a lot of fun, but you could also sprinkle a little money here and there on some of the props and parlays and the picks against the spread. To make it all that much more fun. You can do that on Hard Rock Bet. Try today. Get up to $100 back in bonus bets. If that first bet does not win, that first bet can be a parlay. It can be a prop. It can be the over. Whatever you like to bet, any games you choose, you either win your first bet or get the same amount you bet back as a bonus bet. My favorite part about how that app is really organized is it's sophisticated. So if you're an experienced player, it's got little facets here and there that make you go, huh. I'm actually glad they offer something like that. On the Discover page is a perfect example. You see the trendy picks. They give you promo styles. They give you so many different opportunities to get involved in the Discover side here and to take this 5-leg parlay that this random person put together. But it has a little promo attached to it. Or if you want to do it your own way, that's more my style. Let's construct something from scratch. Go through all the games and you can put it all together. You can do that on the Hard Rock Bet app. It's the simplicity that the new player needs as well. It's Hard Rock Bet. Offered by Central Travel Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida. Wagers, terms and conditions apply. Concerned by gambling. Call 1-888-ADD-MIT-IT. Well, we'll start here. because we never get to talk about it because there's never a good game. And that game is the Thursday night football game on Amazon Prime Video between the Ravens and the Bengals. And usually those Thursday night games have Al Michaels half asleep at the wheel doing the broadcast. And you have whatever two terrible teams are playing. The broadcast stinks. They got there's silence. The crowd noise is not good. The game product is terrible. But actually, on Thursday night, we saw a great game. That Bengal-Raven game was a classic. It was 35-34 final. The Bengals had a chance to win by going for two at the end, which I agree with. And I want to get Cade's thoughts on this in a second. Is the Bengals, of course, they were going score for score. Bengals started out hot. Ravens get hot with that offense, of course. You can't stop them for 4 quarters. And they score 4 straight touchdowns on 4 straight touchdown drives. And the Bengals had an opportunity to take the lead at the end with 38 seconds to go after they scored a touchdown. Jamar Chase had about 500 yards, 3 touchdowns. And they went for 2. There was a couple penalties here and there, so you could have complaints about the refs. But ultimately, some people are criticizing the call. I have no problem with them going for 2, number 1, and 2, them not necessarily looking Jamar Chase's way. I know Jamar Chase had a lot to say about not going his direction there. You can't. He had 17 targets. Jamar, let's take a timeout. You don't need 50. It's not going to go your hands every possession. But from that perspective, the Bengals just got dealt a bad hand with a couple of the calls there. It's a tough spot to call something like that. Cade, Thursday night football. Bengals are now sort of behind the 8 ball a little bit, but the Ravens look every bit of a contender as you could possibly be.
This is always a classic here, Colin. This has turned into one of the great NFL rivalries as of late, and we always get a tight one. I was shocked. The line before this game was Ravens -6. I wasn't touching that whatsoever because I don't care what the Bengals record is. I don't care what the Ravens record is. As soon as they play each other, it turns into a completely different game. We saw an overtime game earlier in the year, and now we just had one that could have gone easily into overtime again on Thursday night. It was an absolute classic. I also agree with the call to go for it on 2 on the final play there. You have no idea what Lamar Jackson's going to be able to do. You have no idea if you're going to win the coin toss in overtime if it gets to that point. I do disagree, though, that they shouldn't have gone to Chase. You had him one-on-one on the outside, and of all the wide receivers you've got, or tight ends, or whatever for the Bengals, if I want a 50-50 shot to anybody, I'm throwing it up to Jamar Chase, and he was clearly on fire the entire night. And as much as we don't necessarily love Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit in these calls, Kirk Herbstreit had it the entire time. He's like, there's your match. There's Jamar Chase. He said it about 7 times. And then, was it the Ravens or the Bengals who called that timeout right before they went for it on the first time? Someone called a timeout, then the defense changed completely, and he wasn't open anymore. If I'm the Bengals, I'm snapping that ball in as soon as I get to the line, and Joe Burrow get it out of his hand. He was getting blitzed and bullied all night long. So why would you let him have to endure that again? Get that ball in your hand, get it immediately to the corner, and it's in Jamar Chase's hands right now. And then at the end of the game, you're just like, Jamar Chase should have caught the ball, instead of blaming it maybe on the refs, on the coaches, on Joe Burrow, on anyone else. That game would have been completely in Jamar Chase's hands, which I think he likes.
Fair enough. I agree with that. In terms of he's a big game player. And 11 receptions for 270-something yards and 3 touchdowns at a certain point for the hot hand. It's for making the call. What are you supposed to do? The refs, it's annoying that the refs are involved, and it's always they're a part of the storyline with these games. But at the end of the game like that, you can't have a flag every play. Burrow was getting pounded all game long. They established no precedent in terms of hitting Burrow earlier in the game. But his face got tugged there, so I'm not sure how he should have handled that. I probably would have made the call since it was so blatant. But to that point, they established no precedent with pounding Burrow throughout the game. And I think they just wanted to let them play, quote unquote. For better or worse. Needless to say, Sunday edition of Sunday Huddle. November 10th. We're in the thick of November now. And now we're doing this because we have an early slate game. We're here 8 to 9:15 a.m. today. NFL Munich game. One in Germany is officially today. 2-7 Giants taking on the 2-7 Carolina Panthers. So I can't say the NFL is probably stoked that this is the matchup and this is the type of storyline they got today in Germany. And I was in Munich. I've been to Munich, and I never got the sense that people love American football there. But the NFL manufactures a couple of fans at those games, and they get a sense that people get into it.
I will say, did you see the crowds that were there for Chiefs Dolphins last year? Though I mean, there's something.
It's weird. It's weird. I don't disagree with that. But both teams are 2-7, an NFL Network game at 9:30 a.m. I can't say the NFL is probably stoked with that game that's going to be a standalone game. Some of their other big time primetime matchups, they're absolutely screwed with. One of them being, of course, today the Eagles at the Cowboys. I'm sure that's a huge game. CBS actually has that game instead of Fox for a change. You're going to see Nance and Romo on that call. And I'm sure coming into the year, Nance and Romo were so stoked about getting an Eagle-Cowboy game not on Fox 425 slate in Dallas. It was announced yesterday that Dak Prescott is now going to get season-ending surgery to repair a partially torn hamstring on his leg. So no Dak Prescott the rest of the way. And the Cowboys are in a situation now where you're going to trot out Cooper Rush. And Cooper Rush is somebody who actually saw some success with Dallas a couple of years ago, early on in the year when they didn't have Prescott after that ankle injury. And he came in, he won a couple games, and then Dak comes in, he finishes the job, they get to the postseason. I don't think this is the same Cowboy team then as it is now. So now Cooper Rush is playing a pretty red-hot Philadelphia team in a primetime slate, and Jerry Jones has made a couple questionable calls. You don't know what's going on with CeeDee Lamb. I know Micah Parsons is going to be available. CeeDee Lamb is likely going to be available. So you're going to have a couple of the stars there. But the NFL, this is a disaster for. They cannot be happy that no Dak Prescott the rest of the year, and they got the Cowboys sitting on primetime television basically week in and week out. They got to make some. We'll shift to where the Cowboys. They're 3-5. They got Cooper Rush the rest of the year. Where do you go from here? That's the real question. The NFL's already screwed with them getting in all the primetime slots. That's a franchise. They ended up being buyers at the deadline. They got Jonathan Mingo for a fourth-round pick, which is an interesting compensation for a player like Jonathan Mingo from the Carolina Panthers. Jerry Jones made it abundantly clear throughout the process that they are here to win. There's a chance with this team. Bear with them. My question is, where do you possibly go from here? What's the vision, Jerry? What is the vision for where this team could possibly be, whether at the end of the year this year, down the line? You're starting Cooper Rush. You're not going Trey Lance. So there's no unless Trey Lance is that bad, there's no future. Let's check the upside of the guy. We have him on our roster. We made a trade for him. There's none of that. Because you're going with Cooper Rush. And Cooper Rush is technically your most win-now quarterback. So, Kate, I want to pose the question. You're the Cowboys. You're sitting there at 3-5. You got another tough game today. You got the Commanders and Texans coming up the 2 weeks after that. Where do you go from here?
Abandon ship. Do everything you can to tank. Right now, get it over with. Get the highest pick.
They're not going to do that. That's not Jerry Jones' way.
They're not going to do it, but you asked me where should they go from here. I'm telling you where they should go from here. This is not exactly what they're going to do at all. Jerry wants to win now. He's completely delusional on what type of football team he has. And now the guy they just paid $60 million a year for is out, and he won't be back anytime soon. There is no chance they're winning anything this year. They still, I believe, have to play the Commanders twice as well as I think this is the first time they play the Eagles.
Divisional games. The Eagles twice.
The schedule has no chance for them to make the playoffs. The NFC is also way too tough. At this point, there's not, correct me if I'm wrong, there's no one-win team right now, right? They're technically only one game behind the number one pick in the draft right now. At this point, you are going for the highest draft pick possible. You don't want to sell completely because you have some star guys, but at this point, there is no point on trying to salvage a season that the rest of us in media have told you has been long ago away.
I think if you're going to construct a blueprint on what to do with the Dallas Cowboys, I think the main thing would be if you're Jerry Jones, you have to acknowledge now that you cannot be the sole captain of this ship. And I know that's like That's like asking Albert Einstein to give up the science book. But this is now Jerry Jones has to realize that he has to get some sort of additional leadership in that building. The Cowboys are not just a poorly ran franchise, they're a poorly led franchise. There's no fearless leader at the top, at the front of the ship. There's no captain behind the wheel. And it's not Mike McCarthy. It's nobody on the field. It's not Dak Prescott. And it's definitely not Jerry Jones. So if you're the Cowboys, they're not going to tank, in my opinion. So I'm not even going to consider that. But what they should do, if you're going to do this slowly but surely, the first thing you got to do is get to the offseason, and you have to find that leader. Find that person, whether it be a president of football operations, whether it be a head coach. I assume they're going to let McCarthy walk. Find somebody that could take a lot of reins in and steady the ship. And whether that be somebody like a Bill Belichick or Mike Vrabel, or if Ben Johnson would consider it, a Ben Johnson from the Detroit Lions, you need somebody to come in and steer the ship in the right direction. And that should be, because you have win-now players. You have an injury bug, but the poor leadership is part of the reason that the Cowboys have sunk. And whether it be them not going after Derrick Henry in the offseason, whether it be they have people touring the practice facilities during the season, the Cowboys have been lacking that sincere, little bit of future, little bit of now leadership for quite some time. And Jerry's going to have to give up, a couple of the buttons in order for that to happen. That is the only way that the Cowboys, with the roster that they have invested so much money into now, and they're going to have to continue investing more with some of the players that are going to need extensions, that is what you have to do. You have to find somebody to right the ship and lead, not Jerry. Jerry is not the leader of the ship. Jerry should not drive the car. Jerry should ride in the passenger seat. And I don't know if Jerry wants to give up the keys, but you're going to have to give up the keys to the Cadillac eventually. You're 82 years old. And you still own the team. Everybody knows how cool Jerry Jones is. Get somebody else in there that's not necessarily going to be on a leash by Jerry. Mike McCarthy played by Jerry's rules. Get somebody that's willing to try their own thing, because clearly, it is not working. And I think you're going to see it again today against the Eagles, because the Eagles are red hot. And I know they kind of get in their own way with how Sirianni calls these games. You saw it last week against Jacksonville, where I was even rooting for Jacksonville, and Sirianni was driving me up a wall. That's how strange of a coach he is. But the Eagles have been as hot as any other team in the NFL, and this is going to be a tricky game for the Cowboys because the Eagles are going to be chomping at the bit. But you got Cooper Rush now. There's no vision for this season. All you can think about is how McCarthy's contract is up at the end of the year, and you're going to have to find somebody who has a bit of guts and can take a little bit of the car, the steering wheel, away from Jerry Jones. You need to get separate leadership in there, and that is the key to the castle. That is the key to at least succeeding with what you have right now. What is the first overall pick going to do for the Cowboys? They have a quarterback. They have a big-time receiver. They have a big-time edge rusher. They have a big-time guy in the corner. They have the premier positions. They need the bulk. They need the bulk, and they need the leadership. They need the meat and the potatoes of the team. They need somebody in the running game. They need health in the secondary. That's what they need. They don't necessarily need the star power. They need leadership and the meat and potatoes of the roster. That's the key to the Cowboys.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is denying how great of a businessman Jerry Jones is. It's not like Jerry Jones as a person is the problem. It's simply the way he constructs a football team and the coaching staff of a football team. And I think you're absolutely right about you don't necessarily need the star players. You've got everyone. You just need the leadership, and you just need some sort of camaraderie. And coming from South Florida, we've seen that clear as day with the Miami Dolphins. I mean, we cannot stop waxing poetically about how great of a roster Miami does, and they keep falling short year after year. So I completely agree with you on that front. I got to say this, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can we be done talking about the Cowboys?
Yeah, this is probably it.
Can we
the problem
please...
is they're on primetime every single week.
Okay, stop. Let's stop giving Jerry what he wants because, like I said, he's a businessman. He's not a football constructor. He just wants the attention of the media 24/7. And he's got friends everywhere who want to talk about him as well. But I think, Colin, on this show, on Sunday Huddle, and honestly, I would love it to be off of all the airwaves on ESPN 106.3 for our local shows. I am so done talking about a mediocre team with a mediocre franchise. If this was any other team, how many other 3 or 4 win teams are we not talking about right now because we know they have no chance going long term? Like your Jaguars are at this same level right now. I know the Cowboys technically have a better record, but we're not talking about them as if they have some sort of huge media outlet for us to talk about them. I am so sick of talking about the Cowboys right now. I would so much rather talk about every other good team in the NFC right now.
That's Kate Chums and Colin Russo here on Sunday Huddle, presented by Hard Rock Bet. K's live at the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. I am back in Connecticut, working remotely, but we're still doing it. Still doing a Sunday Huddle. We've got a packed slate today till 9:15, till the international slate. The Giants and the Panthers, an NFL Munich game. That is going to be kicking off a little after 9 on NFL Network. Got a packed slate today, of course. Steelers-Commanders, an interesting one to watch. He mentioned the actual Jaguars not having any sort of future. I want to get into that. Trevor Lawrence is not playing with a left shoulder injury. I think there's something more to that than just Trevor being hurt. I want to get into my thoughts there, being a Jacksonville fan, number one. But also, I think this is the last day you will see Doug Peterson working for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think it is day number finito for Doug Peterson working for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I cannot be happier, but the owner's yacht is in downtown Jacksonville. Usually that means there's something up. But Cowboys, they have 2 Monday Night Football games. They have a 4:25 game today. They have a 4:25 game against the Eagles later in the year. And they have a Sunday Night Football game later in the year as well. Fix that. Get them out of those games. And on top of that, they play on primetime Thanksgiving. Get them out of those slots. Whatever you got to do, the NFL. Get them out. I think there's something, too, back to the point on the other side of things. We'll get into what Trevor Lawrence is doing and not playing. They're going to be going with Mac Jones today. I think this is a little bit of an ultimatum move by Trevor Lawrence to get Peterson out. We'll get into that. We'll get into more. Stick around. Sunday Huddle, presented by Hard Rock Bet on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
You've got so many chances to win big on Hard Rock Bet. Even a small bet can bring in that serious cash. All you need is $1 and a dream.
Unbelievable. They've hit the parlay.
Let's go! Big payouts for every kind of player.
Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
Get up to $100 back if your first bet doesn't win. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Hurricane fans, the final game of the season is here. Join us on November 23rd at Hard Rock Stadium as the Hurricanes take on the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. It's Senior Day, a day to honor the incredible players who have given their all to the U. Let's give them a send-off they'll never forget and fill the stadium with Hurricanes pride. Don't miss out. Get your tickets today by visiting MiamiHurricanes.com or by calling 1-800-GO-CANES.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill, when your friend bets against your team and the friendship. Or choose chill because you're drinking Coors Light with your buddy. Coors Light, choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Good Greek moving and storage. Your superhero movers.
It's the Good Greek Spiro. For the best move ever, go to goodgreek.com.
Good Greek moving and storage. Your superhero movers.
F45 Training West Palm Beach offers functional group fitness classes reimagined. Sign up for F45 today and visit their West Palm Beach location. Featuring high-intensity group workouts that are fast, fun, and results-driven, F45 always has the right workout for you. Not to mention, it takes just 45 minutes. Visit F45training.com today to find a studio near you and officially join the F45 Training family. F45, team training, life changing.
I'm Mark Anajar. I'm Glenn Levine.
I'm Ellie Anajar.
Together, we're Anajar and Levine, and our team is a triple threat to big insurance companies.
Don't settle with the insurance companies for a fraction of what your case is worth. We'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve.
That's the Anajar and Levine difference. Get your free case review right now. We'll help you take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
In office, West Palm Beach.
Calling all sports fans, grab your MVP card and head to Duffy's where you can catch all of the action. Not an MVP? Sign up for free and start earning rewards today. Duffy's is voted the best sports grill year after year with their award-winning burgers and wings. Don't forget about Duffy's famous 2-for-1 drinks all day, every day. And with over 80 TVs in every location, you'll never miss a minute of the game. Visit Duffy'sMVP.com to learn more. Duffy's, our game is always on.
Introducing Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. And it's exclusively on YouTube, where JC is breaking down the most viral clips in sports and entertainment.
Because every day above ground is a good day, some are just more questionable than others.
Subscribe to Questionable Call on YouTube right now. New episodes drop every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Anything else is out of the question. Presented by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys, Twin Peaks, St. Lucie Battery and Tire, and Bud's Chicken and Seafood. Yeah, chicken and seafood.
Celebrate the most wonderful time of the year at the Gardens Mall. Santa is here for photos during all mall hours now through Christmas Eve. Reserve your spot at whereissanta.com. The Kids Corner Holiday Shop in Nordstrom Court is now open. Kids can pick out gifts for their favorite people with help from Santa's special helpers. Plus, enjoy festive decorations and holiday events throughout the mall. The Gardens Mall, just 1 mile east of I-95 on PGA Boulevard. Join us this holiday season and make magical memories with the whole family.
Roadrunner, Roadrunner, Roadrunner.
This is Sunday Huddle with Colin Russo, presented by Hard Rock Bet.
Sunday Huddle presented by Hard Rock Bet on ESPN 106.3. Rolling on here, Colin Russo, Kate Chumsland back at the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. A packed slate of Week 10 NFL football today, starting with an international game in Munich between the Giants and the Panthers, both sitting at 2-7. I wouldn't call that one a barn burner, but nonetheless, NFL football in the early slate. So we got you up until then, 9:15 for the program today on Sunday Huddle. Other than that, a pretty fun slate of football in store for us. 49ers, Buccaneers in that 1 o'clock slate, the early window. Bills at Colts. We'll see if they can stay hot. They escaped last week against the Miami Dolphins. Of course, the Jets, we'll see if they can continue staying in the win column. They won on Thursday Night Football. They're sitting at 3-6. They play a very pesky Cardinal team that could run the ball with an underrated quarterback, in my opinion, in Kyler Murray. I think that's an interesting one where the Jets are favored. Once again, people were confused on why the Jets were favored against the Texans on Thursday Night Football about 10 days ago. Well, they're favored again on the road, taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Does Vegas know something we don't? Or is the steam in the engine finally going to run out on the New York Jets and we could ship them off to pasture? And, of course, highlighted tonight, the Sunday Night Football game, a very good matchup between the Detroit Lions and the Houston Texans. Texans at 6-3, coming off a loss to the aforementioned Jets. And the Lions looking like the juggernaut of the entire NFL. We'll get into that in a couple minutes. But more importantly, at the moment, for my fellow Jag fans, Trevor Lawrence is not going to be playing today. He has a significant AC injury in his left not his left shoulder, not his throwing shoulder. But the future is uncertain on him, according to Ian Rappaport of NFL Network. He's not playing today. Mac Jones will be starting. The Jacksonville Jaguars are playing the last game before their bye week. And usually that can mean a couple things, especially when you got a coach on the hot seat, is for a Viking team that's 6-2, and a team that needs to continue winning to keep their head above water in that tough division. And Jacksonville's trotting out there with a backup quarterback and a plethora of injuries all over the offense. I think if it was my choice, I would have fired Peterson after week 3. But I think finally we're at the point where we could ship Peterson off and we could all conclude as a team, me and Cade can conclude that this is probably the last we will see of Doug Peterson if they lose this game. And whether it's ugly, and I know they're relatively competitive against the Packers if you want to argue that. And, here and there, they're playing, they're relatively competitive in the game against the Eagles. I don't care. They were terrible in the majority of those games. Get Peterson out. And I think that's part of the reason why Lawrence is not toughing out a couple of these injuries here. Because Lawrence has played through sprained MCLs. He's played through ankle injuries. He's played through finger injuries. He's a tough guy. And if it's absolute necessity to sit out, he will. But he is somebody who's been relatively available through thick and thin throughout his NFL career. I think this is a situation. He was practicing on Friday. He was practicing. And he had a helmet on, and he was throwing the football. What this tells me is that, weirdly enough, this is a Trevor Lawrence and company, agents, whatever it may be, telling Jacksonville Jaguars, listen, Trevor's not going to come out there until you make a change at the head coaching position. Now, I don't know if Lawrence has this power, but it's a loyal owner who will never make a change unless it's, the walls are crumbling in on him in Shad Khan. I think this is finally the last we will see of Doug Peterson if they lose today. And I am over it. I am out on him. Go get Ben Johnson for all I care. But Peterson and Lawrence have had a very strained relationship, especially in recent weeks. Peterson went to the media over the week, and they asked him about the injury, Trevor's injury, and to his non-throwing shoulder. And Peterson basically gave a snide comment along the lines of, well, it's not his throwing shoulder, so it's more of a pain tolerance thing. Almost backhanded, he can't handle the pain, which is why he's not playing. Doug, you don't need to do that to the media. You don't need to word it like that. You don't need to make him seem like a wimp. It's divisive. Get him out. I think this will be the last we see of Doug Peterson as a Jacksonville Jaguar head coach.
It's all about who's here to stay. Well, Trevor Lawrence is making $55 million a year,
he's parked.
I guess, Doug Peterson, you're the one who's going to have to go because, I'll be honest, this roster simply hasn't played up to par either. I know a lot of this stuff is going to go on Doug Peterson, but I'm watching receivers drop wide open touchdowns.
Terrible.
I'm watching Trevor Lawrence also make bad mistakes. Tank Bigsby has been now your guy at the running back spot. That wasn't supposed to be the way it was. And they're allowing what seems like 30 points every single time the defense steps onto the field. So I'm not going to put everything on Doug Peterson. The problem is you paid Trevor Lawrence in the offseason, so now you're stuck with having to get rid of Doug Peterson. I said Trevor Lawrence should never have gotten paid that much money to begin with. Not only is he not worth it, but he's not healthy enough to be consistently on that level. And this is just a situation that the Jacksonville Jaguars have put themselves in. And I'm not exactly sure there are too many people in this world that could take over this head coaching spot this year, let alone the start of next year, and get this Jaguars team back to where it needs to be.
I don't know about that because I think Lawrence needs... And you could say the same thing because Peterson is essentially fitting this mold. But you need an offensive-minded guy who's going to... It's all about a marriage. And that Peterson marriage, it seemed like it was working, but now they're going through their problems and issues. You got to separate. You got to split different ways. Something is not working. And Peterson's downfall in Philadelphia was his over-loyalty to his guys, Press Taylor being one of them as the offensive coordinator of the Jaguars, and he was on the staff with the Philadelphia Eagles. People want Peterson to move away from Press Taylor. And Peterson, for some reason, has an inability to move on from his boy and Press Taylor. This is going to be the reason that he's going to be out in Jacksonville, and I think that was part of the reason why he was out in Philadelphia. As we saw with so many teams this year, it's all about the marriage. Baker Mayfield got unlocked with the right coaching staff around him. Sam Darnold unlocked with the right coaching staff around him. There's a number of different quarterbacks where Geno Smith unlocked with the right staff around him. Now he's doing it with two staffs. It's a matter of who you're going to put at the helm of the steering the ship, like we talked about with the Cowboys earlier. Get somebody who can steer this ship properly. Lawrence has the talent. I agree, he's not great. But to say that he can't get there, with the amount of money that they've invested here and there, they have objective young talent, especially offensively. That should be what they look for towards the future. But like always, they're a horrifically ran organization. I cannot expect anything different in the near future. So we'll ship off what we're talking about with the Vikings and the Jags. Jags are 2-7. Let's forget about them. But the Vikings, of course, take on the Jags on Fox, 1 o'clock. The 6-2 Vikings on the road taking on Jacksonville. Hopefully, for me, for my Jacksonville fandom's sake, this is the last time we will see Doug Peterson coaching a Jacksonville Jaguar game. They enter the bye. This is a good time to do turnover. That's just my take. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But I want to shift to what we're going to see tonight. And Sunday Night Football, you got as good of a matchup as you could find with the Detroit Lions and the Houston Texans. The Lions, of course, going on the road for the second straight week. People thought the Lions were going to be found out a little bit last week at Lambeau in a rainstorm, and the Lions came in and did exactly what the Lions do. They controlled the game. The special teams played well. They forced turnovers. That's what the Lions do, and they played well. And Jared Goff played a clean, winning football game once again for the Detroit Lions. They seem to be the big bads of the NFL in entirety. The Chiefs will win every game, but they'll win games ugly. They'll keep it close. They're going to try to churn out, whether it be with the help of a penalty or a crucial late-down stop or an overtime victory. They'll win ugly. The Cowboys, on the other hand, have just been blitzing everybody. They have been absolutely throttle, pedal to the metal the entire game against every team they see. So it's almost like the tale of the two giants on either side of the NFC and the AFC. One of them, beats you with kindness in the Chiefs. The other one beats you with brute force in the Detroit Lions. So this is for me, for the Texans, who I'm not high on. This is going to be a very interesting litmus test on where the Texans stand amongst the NFL elite. But they're coming off a long week. They played on Thursday Night Football. They're getting healthier. It sounds like Nico Collins is going to play. Cade, you're a Texan fan. What say you in this? I think this is a big litmus test on where the Texans really stand, especially at home, against the big bads of the NFC.
Before I say another word about the Texans, I have a disclaimer to present to you, Colin. For a little bit of context, I'm watching the Monday Night Football game last week with the Manning cast, and the Manning brothers had Maria Taylor on, who is the host of the Sunday Night Football pregame and postgame shows. Maria Taylor said something very interesting during the show. Eli Manning asked her a question about journalism in particular. I need to play this clip before I start talking about the Texans, Colin.
Go for it.
You don't say we and us, even though you're from Atlanta. Peyton constantly refers to his old teammates like he's still in uniform and playing for him. Can you please explain that he'll never be taken seriously as a journalist until he stops doing that?
There was actually a time when, as a journalist, you did not want to say we and us. I feel like that's kind of like, we've let that go.
Colin, we are going to make this a game. We are going to put up a miraculous fight against the Lions. Nico Collins is back. We got beat up last week. We had a 2-hour players-only meeting after that game, led by C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson Jr. We are going to pound the rock. We are going to get Tank Dell back involved. The Texans, my Houston Texans, are going to make this a dogfight at home. We're undefeated at home. I know the Lions are undefeated on the road, but we're not going to talk about that right now. The roof is going to be open in primetime television. This is the moment we get our season turned around. It's plus 3.5 on Hard Rock Bet, and I am hammering that line.
Well, okay, hold on. Let's set one thing straight. You said get your season on track. You're sitting there at 6-3. So from your perspective, our definitions of get your season on track are two very different things. The Jacksonville Jaguars are sitting there at 2-7, while the Texans are sitting there at an ugly, nonetheless, a 6-3.
The division is a given. The division is a given. We're looking way higher than that. And right now, we are not even close to that upper echelon of Chiefs, Ravens, and Bills. We need to get back on that level, and I think it starts tonight.
Wow. So you think that the passing game's going to get on? How are you going to stop this offense? Do you think that's possible? Is this going to be an outscoring them? It's going to be a 45-42 game? Or is this going to be sort of where the book's out in the lines a little bit and that defense is going to play really stout?
Jared Goff has been playing unbelievable football because he hasn't had the incompletions. I think our pass rush, I know Will Anderson Jr. is out tonight, but Danielle Hunter, formerly a Viking. He knows how to play against this line. I think we're going to get pressure on Jared Goff early and often. The concern to me is actually the run game more than it is the passing game, because I think the secondary is going to hold their own. We just got some key players back. I think Aziz Shahir. Wow. Cannot say that linebacker's name.
Al-Shahir Sahim, I think.
Thank you. And then Jimmy Ward, I believe, is back on the secondary as well. So we've got some key guys back on defense. We're going to get these guys pressured early and often, and I expect Jared Goff to be the one to make more of the mistakes. We have to put up more than 30 points. This is going to be like a 34-31 type of victory tonight, but I do think the passing game is going to be back. The deep ball is going to be back with Nico Collins, and some teams have been able to figure out the Lions late in games. You got the Vikings who did it a little bit ago. I know they lost that game. And then the Packers looked like they were putting something on at the end of that game, even though it was a blowout victory. But when the moment gets tight, I think the Texans are going to be able to find some sort of way to get the ball deep.
Yeah, the Lions' game plan throughout the year has been, started out with a bang, started out with a blitz, go right after them, and, put their foot on the throat before they could even blink. And you mentioned you got to score in the 30s. I think you're going to have to score in the 40s to win tonight. And, you think about it, the Lions, they played the Seahawks, Cowboys, Vikings, Titans, and Packers. And they scored 42, 47, 31, 52. And, of course, last week in a monsoon where it was raining like no other at Lambeau Field, they scored 24. So for the Texans, I think in a dome environment, which favors the Lions in a lot of situations, that would be this game needs to be a shootout. That's the only way that this is going to work, in my opinion.
For sure.
And you mentioned you don't have a lot of you have your confidence in the passing game. I don't have my confidence in that passing game. They have been if this is just a Nico Collins plug and play, everything's good, then I think Bobby Slowick, our offensive coordinator, needs to start to figure out what his system is. And if it's so reliant on Nico Collins being there in order for it to be functional, and it hasn't been functional. It's not about it having to be good. It's about being functional. And if Nico Collins is the straight-up plug-and-play answer to why that passing game has not been playing that well, then we're going to have some conversations about how that offense is constructed. But that's neither here nor there. Nico Collins looks to be playing tonight. I think this is going to be a good game. I agree. I think the Texans will play pretty well tonight off that long week. I think they need to play well for a mental psyche thing. But to that same point, the Lions are the big bads. They're the bullies. They shove you in the locker. And I'm very curious to see how the Texans are going to handle that, because it's not the Jets where, you let them hang around and all of a sudden the Jets can take advantage of the second half. If the Texans start slow, this game is over. This game is over. And they started slow against the Jets in one of the worst first halves I've ever watched in Thursday Night Football 10 days ago. So if they start slow, you need to score your first possession. Win the coin toss, get the ball, ask for the ball, and take them right down the field and score. That's how you do this. You gotta come out with some meaning. You gotta do what the Vikings did, and they started out 10-0 quick. And I know they still lost that game, but that is, if anything, that is how you got to hang around.
You're saying all the right things, Colin. You're saying all the right things, and I think it's all going to happen.
I'm preaching to the choir. So we got a new segment coming up next on the flip side of things. We're going to do our Fantasy Football Factory presented by Hexus MD, because we need to figure out what the best plays are this week. There's going to be a couple. We have 3 plays apiece that we're going to get to. 3 fantasy football plays apiece. Underrated players that you should be considering to stick in your lineup for your fantasy football matchup this week. Stick around for that. It's Sunday Huddle. Colin Russo, Cade Chumsland on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3. ESPN 106.3 is your home for Miami Dolphins football. Every Miami Dolphins game right here, all season long on ESPN 106.3.
Bet live with Hard Rock Bet. Real-time wagering till the very last play. Missing the kickoff doesn't mean all bets are off.
Delay a game on the guy who hasn't bet yet.
Sometimes you just know your team is going to come back. The sportsbook for every kind of player.
Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
Get up to $100 back if your first bet doesn't win. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Lease the new 2024 Range Rover Evoque 250S today at Land Rover Palm Beach for only $499 per month with a 42-month lease and only $47.50 down, plus fees and first month's payment. Head over to Land Rover Palm Beach today, located on Okeechobee Boulevard just past the Turnpike, or visit LandRoverPalmBeach.com to set up a test drive of the new 2024 Range Rover Evoque 250S. Land Rover Palm Beach, above and beyond.
Huddle up this season at Hurricane Grill and Wings, where every day is game day. Enjoy our famous wings, new cocktails, and happy hour deals at the perfect spot to catch all the football action. Escape from the ordinary. Visit hurricanewings.com to find a restaurant near you.
Hi, this is Scott Smith with Smith Ball Baez and Prather, Florida Injury Lawyers. We are a Florida civil trial law firm that specializes in the areas of personal injury and wrongful death. Our offices are located in Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie. Our lawyers have litigated thousands of matters at the Palm Beach, Martin, St. Lucie, and Indian River County courthouses. Our lawyers, paralegals, and other numerous members of our legal team live in Palm Beach County and Treasure Coast cities and towns such as West Palm Beach, Port St. Lucie, Lake Worth, Palm Beach Gardens, Palm City, Jupiter, and others just like you and your families. We are a statewide recognized law firm, but it is your community and your families that we live and associate with on a daily basis. Our most satisfying achievement is when we know that our legal power has helped a fellow member of our Palm Beach County and Treasure Coast community secure a fair and just huge result. If you've been injured, the lawyers at Smith Ball Baez and Prather will help. Call us at 500-HELP. 500-HELP. With Smith Ball Baez and Prather, help is just a local phone call away. Offices Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie.
Hi, Kevin Dalton here from the Unlimited Auto Wash. Rainy season is upon us. What a great time to join our $44.95 Unlimited Inside and Out Club and use any of our 6 locations. Find a location near you at unlimitedautoWashClub.com or call 561-WASH-ME-TOO.
Theo here. EDS is yes. You've heard me say that over and over. So I need you to keep this website in mind too. EDSIsYes.com. For the most trusted AC specialist here in Palm Beach County, EDSIsYes.com. For 24/7 support, EDS is a trained comfort specialist. It's hard to stop a train. There are so many reasons why EDS is yes when it comes to your air conditioning and plumbing. EDSIsYes.com. That's EDSIsYes.com.
This Thanksgiving, don't let extra pounds steal your joy. At HexisMD.com, enjoy the feast without fear of calories sticking around. They offer semaglutide and trizepatide. No insurance needed. Picture yourself feeling lighter and more energized. Give yourself the gift of confidence and health this holiday season. Join thousands already transforming their lives. Visit HexisMD.com today. That's HEXISMD.com. Your partner in a healthier, happier you.
Okay, maybe some red music for this?
Buffoon, Orbit Topper, 19 Uber, Jailbreak, Ralph Chowder.
This is Sunday Huddle with Colin Russo, presented by Hard Rock Bet.
Sunday Huddle presented by Hard Rock Bet on ESPN 106.3. Colin Russo, Cade Chumsland back at the City Play Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. I am back in Connecticut. We are still giving you the unfiltered coverage of the NFL Week 10 slate, which kicks off with the Giants and the Panthers in Munich. A little after 9 o'clock, 9:15 this program goes to today, so stick around for that. We got a new one today, Fantasy Football Factory, presented by Hexis MD. We'll give you our plays of the week. Who are the streamers? Who are the guys you should pick up off the waiver wire? Or the guys who have been stashed on the bench, haven't played that well throughout the year, that need to play this week? Fantasy Football Factory, presented by Hexis MD. Your partner is in easy and effective weight management methods. Visit HEXISMD.com. Hexis MD. HEXISMD.com. Cade, we'll go 1-1 here. We'll go back and forth, okay? So I will start mine, and I got somebody interesting here because I have him on my personal team. And he's been somebody who hasn't necessarily gotten any sort of steam all year long, but I think he's in store for a big game today for a couple of reasons. Number one, this is Jordan Addison. And I know Jordan Addison's probably on a number of rosters, but probably buried somewhere on the bench because Justin Jefferson, for obvious reasons, gets all the high-quality looks from Sam Darnold. And, of course, they have a good running game. And they don't necessarily have the offense that spreads it out to every single person. And Jordan Addison has sort of been the odd man out throughout the season so far. Why do I think he's going to play well today? Number one, he's playing Jacksonville Jaguars, who are terrible. But number two, I think Doug Peterson, over the week this week, if people saw, he was speaking to the media during availability, they asked him, hey, Doug, why do you think Sam Darnold has had such a miraculous turnaround with the Minnesota Vikings? And what does Doug say? For some reason, loves to create this bulletin board material. Doug says, nothing else but Justin Jefferson. Doug, there might be some truth to that he helps, but I think you got to give some credit to where credit's due for Sam Darnold. So you will wonder, why do I go Jordan Addison here? Because Jacksonville's defense, their second cornerback, is Ronald Darby. Ronald Darby, a guy who's made a name for himself in the NFL, but has been one of the worst cover corners I think I've ever seen play football the last couple of weeks. Tyson Campbell is their number one corner. He's probably going to be following Justin Jefferson. Therefore, Ronald Darby, who's been burnt toast all season long, is going to be hanging around with the Jordan Addisons of the world. Jordan Addison, I think, will have a big game because I think Sam Darnold will have a big game, and I think they're going to pass it all over that depleted Jacksonville secondary. Take Jordan Addison and stick him in the lineup for this week. I like Jordan Addison against Jacksonville. I think he's in store for finally that breakout game that people have been waiting for.
I love that take, and I'm going to go to someone else in the NFC. I'm going to go with Austin Eckler from the Washington Commanders. Brian Robinson Jr. out today. Austin Eckler had some touches last week against the Giants late in that game, went for 11 carries, high for the season, 42 yards, and a touchdown. Also had 41 receiving yards. He's been getting his touches here and there. He's been able to be very productive when he's got the ball in his hands, and he hasn't really complained about not getting the ball too much. It's really been the Brian Robinson Jr. show. Well, now that Brian Robinson Jr. is out, and the Washington Commanders going against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are known for their passing defense, they're going to have to rush the ball quite a bit, especially in 3rd and 1 goal-to-go situations. I like Austin Eckler to get plenty of touches today and especially get the yardage and production they need. I like Austin Eckler from the Washington Commanders.
All right, that's an interesting one. Austin Eckler, a guy who hasn't necessarily, like you said, hasn't complained because he's a vet, and I think he goes at it the right way. He knows he's on a good team. You just got to pick and choose your moments in terms of when you're going to break out. Maybe it's this type of day. I have an interesting one, too, and a position of need in fantasy football throughout the year that, there's just never a right answer because you never know who's going to have a big year, who's not, is the tight end position. And whether it be in recent years, it's been the rookies, Sam Laporta, the Brock Bowers of the world that have dominated the position. But 5 years ago, it was never the case. The rookie tight end never did any sort of damage like that. Now it's completely flipped. But if you need a tight end for this week, it's somebody who hasn't necessarily played a ton throughout the year due to injury, but he was back last week and he was back in a big way. Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill from the New Orleans Saints. I actually picked him up in one of my leagues, and he is going to be playing. He had a rushing touchdown last week. He is the ultimate Swiss Army knife. They're going to use him regardless of who's coaching that team. He is, weirdly enough, just an inevitable talent. And he's going to find the ball. Some way, somehow, the ball is going to end up in his hands in a big spot. They're playing Atlanta. And the Atlanta Falcons, without doubt, this year, throughout the entire year so far, has, for some reason, allowed a lot of offense, whether it be in one half or in both halves. They don't shut teams down by any stretch. And, Seattle tore the ball down the field with them. The Buccaneers they played 2 weeks ago, they were depleted. They still got some offense going. Even the Cowboys last week got back in the game without Dak Prescott at quarterback. They're always in a bit of a shootout. They're always going to allow a couple points here. They have a decent defense. They have no pass rush. Taysom Hill. And they're depleted. The Saints, that is. No Olave. Taysom Hill. They're going to use him. Put him in, slot him in that tight end position. I'm in on that. Give me Taysom Hill.
Very interesting pick considering the Saints really haven't had much offensive production in general, and they're going against a division rival today. But
they're going to use him.
Prime opportunity. Prime opportunity. I'm going to go to someone else who is on a personal fantasy team of mine, and I know I just waxed poetically. I've said that twice today. I got to work on my vocabulary. Tank Dell, Houston Texans. Now, this has nothing to do with whether I think the Texans are actually going to win this football game. If you look at last week, 6 touches, 120 yards through the air. Now, I know that was out without Nico Collins, but that to me at least shows that Bobby Slowick is ready to put Tank back in the offense. He has done miserably numbers-wise all year, but the fact that he was back alive and well last Thursday night shows that they are at least willing to put the ball back in his hands. Whether or not he pops off for another 120, I can't say, but I can guarantee you we're getting another at least 6 catches, 50-plus yards, and potentially a touchdown against the Lions tonight. I think Tank Dell is worth putting back in your starting lineup.
All right. Interesting one. So I got a bit of a stretch here. I had one stretch, and I don't think it was my Taysom Hill. We're doing Fantasy Football Factory presented by Hexus MD on Sunday Huddle. Colin Russo, Cade Chumsland. Now, this is an interesting one. And the team's coming off a bye. It's the San Francisco 49ers. And you think 49ers, you think, all right, McCaffrey's back. Juwan Jennings might be healthy. But it's not any of those two guys. It's Ricky Pearsall. And I like Ricky Pearsall because, and I know this is the same Ricky Pearsall who got shot before the season and has really, as he should, taken his time in getting back and getting acclimated into that offense, really catching his wind. But before the bye, they played Dallas. Ricky Pearsall didn't do a ton, but they used him in the rushing game. He had 1 rush for 40 yards. He had 4 receptions for 38 yards, 11 fantasy points on PPR. He was a first-round rookie for them. Ricky Pearsall, I think, is going to be more and more involved in this offense as the season goes along. He's available in a lot of leagues, and Shanahan is going to get really creative after this bye. It's not like McCaffrey's going to come back. He's going to give McCaffrey 35 carries. They're going to utilize Ricky Pearsall being there. Watch him get creative. Shanahan, watch him get creative with how he uses Ricky Pearsall. I like him. Keep him in mind for deeper leagues. And maybe I'm starting in one league. Maybe use a Ricky Pearsall today. Watch the Niners get creative with him. The longer he plays, the longer into the season they get, the more in shape he's going to get, and the more acclimated into this offense he's going to continue to be. I like Ricky Pearsall as a play today on the fantasy football side of things from the San Francisco 49ers.
I like that play as well, considering Tampa has had a depleted secondary. And so
they're going to score.
Yeah,
they're going to score.
The air side of things for San Francisco should be wide open. Ricky should be a nice one. My last one is actually going to be a backup running back from Atlanta. I'm going Tyler Algier from the Falcons. And we just talked about this Saints-Falcons game, but let's talk about it from the Atlanta perspective. Tyler Algier has had some carries, right? He has had a good amount of carries for his role as a backup running back.
It's the Bijan show there. It's incredible how much they use Bijan. Especially last week, they were going to him every single possession.
It is, but Tyler Algier has had 2 games this year where he's had at least 60 yards or more on at least 6 carries or more. And those 2 games, the first one was against the New Orleans Saints, and the second one was in a blowout victory against the Carolina Panthers. And I am banking on the Falcons blowing out this Saints team today, which will give Tyler Algier a lot more chances late in this game to get a majority of the carries instead of Bijan Robinson. I expect a huge game from the Falcons. We'll get to our parlay picks later in the show because I'm banking on more Falcons plays there. But I like Tyler Algier really making a mark late in this game after the Falcons have basically determined the victory.
Yeah, you think that this is going to be a situation where the Falcons have a big lead and they're just going to be running that football nonstop. Falcons are underrated, and that running game is quite formidable, and Kirk Cousins knows how to manage a team. So I'm in on the Falcons. I took that over before the year, so I like that. But last week especially, I was almost dumbfounded how much they used Bijan Robinson. Every play they were looking for him, whether in the passing game or the running game, and Bijan was able to handle it. So I give him credit there.
But Algier had a touchdown in that game.
I know. It's very strange how they go back and forth. Bijan gets them down the field, and Algier gets the touchdown. However you want to say, whether that's fair or not from a fantasy perspective, You guys can complain about that. But it's Sunday Huddle. That was Cade. I'm Colin. Sunday Huddle's Fantasy Football Factory presented by Hexus MD, which is your partner in easy and effective weight management methods. Visit HEXISMD.com. On the flip side of things, we'll blitz the book presented by Hard Rock Bet. Give our player prop team parlay of the week. Pick every game on that Sunday slate against the spread. Send you off into Week 10 of Sunday NFL football with that international game between the Giants and the Panthers. Stick around for that. Should be a whole lot of fun on Sunday Huddle presented by Hard Rock Bet on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Palm Beach County's premier college football event is back. Don't miss the 2024 Boca Raton Bowl, Wednesday, December 18th from FAU Stadium and broadcast live on ESPN. Last year's game saw in-state Rising Power USF beat Syracuse out of the ACC. What will this year's game have in store? Big names, big teams, big action. The 2024 Boca Raton Bowl, December 18th at FAU Stadium on ESPN. Don't miss out. Find out more at BocaRatonBowl.com.
You've got so many chances to win big on Hard Rock Bet. Even a small bet can bring in that serious cash. All you need is $1 and a dream.
Unbelievable. They've hit the parlay.
Let's go!
Big payouts for every kind of player.
Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
Get up to $100 back if your first bet doesn't win. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Business owners, are your employees driving you nuts? Is money tight? Or have you just poured your heart and soul into your business and now it's time to retire and just relax? At Transworld Business Advisors, they have buyers from all over the world ready to buy your business now. Call for a confidential conversation about your business's current value. 561-203-5121. That's 561-203-5121 or visit tworld.com today.
Tee up your taste buds with the ultimate pairing, great food and golf. Theo Dorsey here at the House in West Palm Beach. Overlooking the park's world-class 18-hole golf course, the House offers coastal American dishes that will satisfy anyone's palate. The House is open Thursday through Sunday for lunch, brunch, and dinner. Stop by for an entree and receive a free round at the park's The Lit 9 Par 3 course. On the House. Visit thehousewestpalm.com for their full menu and to make reservations.
Hurricane fans, the final game of the season is here. Join us on November 23rd at Hard Rock Stadium as the Hurricanes take on the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. It's Senior Day, a day to honor the incredible players who have given their all to the U. Let's give them a send-off they'll never forget and fill the stadium with Hurricanes pride. Don't miss out. Get your tickets today by visiting MiamiHurricanes.com or by calling 1-800-GO-CANES.
Does your business leave a lasting impression? Attractive, eye-catching signs help you stand out from the crowd and create a strong brand identity. Our team at Signorama West Palm are experts in helping your business get noticed and get effective signage in front of your potential customers. Our team can turn your blank windows or plain vehicles into money-making branding machines by drawing customers' attention to your business. So if you're looking to leave that lasting impression, call us 561-687-7993 or visit SignoramawPB.com.
Festive fun is back on select nights. At Palm Beach Zoo, there's family fun. It's the best date night. Oh, Zoo Lights cheer here at Palm Beach Zoo. Oh, what fun it is to save wildlife at the zoo. Hey!
Zoo Lights, presented by Florida Power and Light Company and Discover the Palm Beaches, Florida. Get your tickets today at pbzoo.org/zoolights.
Cozy up with your favorite sweet treats at DQ Grill & Chill, featuring the blizzard of the month, Oreo Fudge Brownie. It's the perfect treat for anyone who likes the sound of an Oreo crunch paired with soft brownies and rich cocoa fudge. Plus, come get a delicious frozen hot chocolate made with fresh cocoa fudge and vanilla soft serve to keep you warm when the temperatures go down. And Parmesan garlic chicken strips are back at DQ Grill & Chill, with 2 locations, 4828 Lake Worth Road and US 1 just south of North Lake.
Tired of being sidelined by a sports injury? Get back in the game with Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Whether you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, you can get back to doing what you love with our compassionate orthopedic team. Experience a new level of care and get back to your best. Welcome to being treated like a pro. Make an appointment today at baptisthealth.net/ortho or call 833-556-6764.
Anajar and Levine.
Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 1063.
WUUB Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station. Huddle up.
66 Hitchx Vegas Flare. I'm one ready.
It's time to break down the boldest plays.
Let's go, baby. Boom.
Hardest hits. And the craziest stories from around the NFL.
Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Fire the cannons.
This is Sunday Huddle with Colin Russo, presented by Hard Rock Bet.
Sunday Huddle presented by Hard Rock Bet on ESPN 1063. Cade Shumslin behind the glass back at the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. Colin Russo here. I'm doing the show remotely from Connecticut. But we're still taking you up until the international game between the Giants and the Panthers today. A whole slate of Week 10 NFL football today after a fun slate of college football yesterday. A couple losses. Georgia fell. Should be interesting to see how the LSU got killed by Alabama. BYU escaped in the Holy War game against Utah. It should be interesting to see how the College Football Committee adjusts their top 12 after this week. We hear about that on Tuesday. But it's time to Blitz the Book, presented by Hard Rock Bet. So Blitz the Book, presented by Hard Rock Bet, is where Kate and I go game by game throughout the Sunday slate of NFL football. Pick every game against the spread. We take out the lines on the Hard Rock Bet app. We're now in the second half of the season. You've seen enough about how these teams really have shaped up. There's no better time to try your first bet on Hard Rock Bet. Don't miss out on your team for big wins all season. To kick off Week 1, actually, a Florida bettor went 16 for 16. Picked the winner of every single Week 1 game correct in their parlay. They turned a $15 bet into over $100,000. Wow. Turned it in basically into a very healthy year's salary for somebody with a good job. That is unbelievable in just one bet. There's so many different ways, so many different types of parlays. Not sure what to bet. You can see the popular trending parlays built by the other users that you can follow and bet in just a few taps. Kate, is there a parlay that you like on the Discover page that caught your eye today?
I've got a massive one that is plus 4,638. That is plus 4,000. We got Jonathan Taylor, Alvin Kamara, Travis Kelce, Justin Jefferson, and Aaron Jones, all with over 79.5 yards. All with 80 yards or more. Jonathan Taylor, Alvin Kamara, Travis Kelce, Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones. I like all of their matchups. We'll get to them right when we do the Blitz the Book.
Okay, so interesting. That's an interesting parlay. See, that's why it's so easy. On the Hard Rock Bet app, you could go to the popular parlays and get a parlay basically constructed for you that somebody else put together, and you get terrific odds out of it. So that's why the Hard Rock Bet app is so accessible for the new player, but it's also got the sophistication that you could build a parlay like that for the experienced player side of things. The NBA is also back. Hoops betting, you can get involved there. Of course, college football is in the thick of it right now. You got rivalry week coming up in just a few short weeks. There's so many different types of big-time games to get started on with Hard Rock Bet. Try your first bet on any sport: pro football, college football, basketball, hockey, MMA, you name it. Hard Rock Bet has got you covered there. Try now. Get up to $100 back in bonus bets if that first bet does not win. That first bet can be a parlay. It can be a prop. It can be an over. It can be a future. Whatever you like to bet, any game you choose. You either win your first bet or get the same amount you bet back as a bonus bet. It's Hard Rock Bet offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. All right, Cade, we got to go quick here. Let's operate fast. Let's start with the international game. Giants, Carolina. Giants are favored by 6.5 points here in Munich. What do you say in this one?
Way too many points. I'm taking Carolina easy in that one.
I completely agree. We're both taking Carolina plus 6.5 against the Giants. I think Bryce Young's going to play well today. I give him credit there. He played well last week against the Saints. Speaking of the Saints, they host the Atlanta Falcons today. They're getting 3.5 at home. Falcons have played well. Saints are a bit depleted. What do you say in this one?
I said it before. I'll say it again. I like Atlanta massive in this one.
I'll ride with you on that. I'm an Atlanta guy myself. -3.5, the Atlanta Falcons over the Saints. I like that. Buffalo at Indianapolis. Buffalo escaped last week against Miami. They're -4 in this one against the Colts. I like the Buffalo Bills in this one. I think they got their ugly game out of the way. I know the Colts were really ugly last week against the Vikings, but I'm starting to think they're running out of steam here. Buffalo is as hot as any team. Maybe they're due, but they're as hot as any team right now. I like the -4.
Colts are a different team than the Dolphins, who are a division rival against the Bills. I like the Bills as well in this one on the road.
Denver at Kansas City. Denver's getting 7.5 points here. They've had 2 tough games in a row at Baltimore, at Kansas City. They couldn't keep on pace with Baltimore's offense, but they're getting 7.5 here. It's a divisional matchup. Kansas City is giving up 7.5 points here. It's a whole lot for a team that's actually pretty solid in the Denver Broncos. I like Denver here. I think with the points, I think it's a good value bet. They're sitting at 5-4. And the Broncos usually play the Chiefs pretty stout. It's the first time they've seen each other this year. What do you say, Cade?
I don't love that it's in Arrowhead, which is a nasty place to play, but I do like how big the line is, and I'll go with Denver as well.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a muddied up game. The Chiefs will probably escape, all things considered. This will probably be a 24-21 game. The Chiefs win in the last second. But I think the Broncos are going to stick around because they play the Chiefs tough. And they've always played them pretty well. Minnesota at Jacksonville. Minnesota giving up 7 on the road in Jacksonville today. Listen, I'm a Jacksonville fan. I'm taking Minnesota -7 to the cows come home. Mac Jones is at quarterback there. Watch Jacksonville play well today. Watch them. But I think Minnesota's going to come in and throttle them.
I think that Minnesota wins by 8. I think this is a 28-20 game written all over it. I'm going to be safe and take Minnesota, but I do think Mac Jones plays well today.
Yeah, watch Jacksonville actually. You know what? I call it my emotions getting the best of me. I think this is going to be the last I see of Doug Peterson. But watch Jacksonville play with some guts today. They played with guts against the Packers. They played with guts for about 2.5 quarters against the Eagles. But we'll shift to the Chicago game. Chicago -6 against the Patriots. They need to win in the worst way. Coming off 2 bad ones here. Chicago -6. What say you, Cade?
I like Chicago at home. They always seem to play better in the Windy City, and they're due for a bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Eberflus 0-18 on Sunday road games as a Chicago Bears head coach. How about that for a stat? Hasn't won a road game on Sunday for the Chicago Bears. But he's back at home, taking on the New England Patriots. I agree they need this win desperately before they get into that brutal divisional play. They're one of 2 teams in the NFL to not play a divisional game yet. Them and the Steelers. And 2 tough divisions at that. So they need this game. They need to stay above water. We shift to Pittsburgh. They're on the road taking on the Washington Commanders. Commanders, of course, as hot as any. They're giving up 2.5 points in this one. Pittsburgh coming off the bye. I like Pittsburgh here. I think Pittsburgh's going to play well. Coming off a bye, I don't know how well their offense is going to play, but that defense, they made a couple moves at the deadline. That defense is stout. I think they're going to be in. Jaden Daniels is face all game long. Give me Pittsburgh +2.5.
And Jaden Daniels has definitely been slipping at the end of some games this year so far. But I'm going to take the hot hand Washington Commanders. I think they have enough to overcome this. Maybe win it on a last-second field goal, but I think -2.5 is fine for me.
Tampa Bay taking on San Francisco at home. They're getting 6.5 at home in Tampa Bay at Raymond James Stadium, taking on the Niners, who are coming off a bye here, getting healthier. McCaffrey slated to play. This is a tricky one because the Buccaneers have been able to score with people, but they're coming off a short week while the Niners are coming off a bye. I think this probably favors the Niners due to that alone to me. They're battered. They're beaten. I got to check that scouting report with the injury report. They got a couple guys in the Tampa Bay side of things that are also coming back, but I think San Francisco's going to come in and take care of business pretty handily today. This has a 10-point win written all over it for me.
If this was a -4, I'd be with you, but I think the points are a little too high for how scrappy Tampa Bay has made it. I'm actually going to take the Bucs +6.5.
All right. Yeah, I don't disagree with that because the Tampa Bay has just been able to hang around in these games, and they could score, and Mayfield's been a good player for them in terms of putting up points on the board. We shift to the 4 o'clock slate. Tennessee at the Los Angeles Chargers. -8. The Chargers are favored. What say you?
Chargers know how to beat up on the bad teams. I think they take care of this one -8.
Yep. They muddy up everything. But, yeah, Will Levis is back today. You know that means an inevitable 2 head-scratching interceptions. So I think the Chargers are going to make them pay. But I still think Tennessee Titans are going to cover. I'll take them +8. Jets Cardinals. Jets are now -2 on the road at Arizona. Arizona's 5-4. Played well. They beat down on the Bears last week. Scrappy, and they're a bit streaky. But I like Arizona here +2.
That win last week against the Texans was more about the Texans losing than it was the Jets winning. This Arizona team is much more experienced, and they've gone through the hard-fought battles this year. I like Arizona as well.
And they got a tough division, too. Everybody's sort of in the same spot. They got a little bit of headway, because they have that win over the Rams. But I like the Arizona Cardinals +2 at home as well. Philadelphia -7 on the road in Dallas, taking on Cooper Rush. What say you, kid?
I love the Eagles. Big game. Dallas, home field advantage, not a thing anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is going to be a game where the Dallas Cowboys are going to roll over and die. But watch this be a 24-20 or 27-24. But I would agree. Philly -7 in this one. And finally, you've alluded to it, Houston Texans hosting the Detroit Lions tonight, +3.5 at home. Coming off a long week. Coming off Thursday Night Football, they're playing the big bads, the big scary bad wolf. What does the three little piggies have to say about this one?
We're going to squeak our way to a victory. I like Houston.
I'm not. I was thinking about riding with you for this one. I'm taking Detroit. Detroit -3.5. I'm sorry, Cade. I give you credit for having this one, but yeah, no.
I'm wildly optimistic, and I have no idea why.
All right, we got about a minute left, Cade. Let's get to our player prop team parlay. I'll start. I got Jordan Addison. I alluded to him before that he's the fantasy football play of the week for me. Jordan Addison, 39.5 receiving yards. That is basically, what, one reception? One big one? Give me Jordan Addison in this one. I think he's in store for a big game. Jordan Addison, and I'm going to parlay that. I'm on two different sides here, but I'm going to go with Atlanta -3.5. Atlanta -3.5. Jordan Addison over 39.5 receiving yards. Excuse me. That's my player prop team parlay. Cade, what's yours?
I'm going to go with Kirk Cousins over 242.5 passing yards against the Saints. I said I like the Atlanta Falcons big. I think Kirk Cousins makes it happen through the air, and I'm going to parlay that with the Eagles -7 over Dallas. That is +250.
It's been Sunday Huddle presented by Hard Rock Bet. Big thanks to Cade. It's been Colin Russo. We'll be back at it same time next week. Actually, 10 o'clock. But enjoy the Sunday. Enjoy football. We'll see you next time. It's been Sunday Huddle presented by Hard Rock Bet.
The preceding program was paid for in full by Hard Rock Bet. Advice and opinions expressed during this program were solely those of the guests or hosts of the